of the more common violations that we see in the village is stop sign violations. Now, the section is based on the California Vehicle Code, which requires drivers to stop behind the limit line. Now, as you can imagine, we commonly hear about the California stop, which really isn't a stop at all, but a slow or a roll. And that's one of the things that we'd like to educate our members of, to come to that stop sign, stop behind the limit line, pause briefly before moving through the intersection.
Yeah. We take videos, the traffic security officers take videos for the traffic sessions when the people come before us. And it's absolutely amazing. If I might indicate, the stop sign is right here. People will physically stop at this particular area and then drive through. However, there's a white limit line right ahead of us that you must stop at. The rule says you must stop at that limit line. However, there are cases where there is no limit line available, but you must still stop, look both ways, then proceed. And these are the things we explain to people, and it's very, very well taken, believe it or not. People will actually thank us for the information which they did not understand. And a lot of times they'll just roll right on through there. I've had them go through at 10, 15 miles an hour, not even think about hesitating.
So in this example, we have one of our own actors, a member of the security division, actually approaching the limit line, and you'll see possibly in a little bit of a rush, what have you, he slows, but then he zips right through the stop sign. And that is something that we're trying to educate our folks on to. Just again, take that few extra seconds, come to a full stop before moving forward.
Welcome back. With us right now is Tim Moy, Security Director here for the Village, and good to see you, Tim, as always.
Good morning, Ken. Good to see you.
Today we're going to, we showed a couple-minute segment just a few minutes ago, and the topic is safe driving.
Right.
And not only general in the area, but some specific here to the Village. So you've got some tips here you want to talk about, and some good general tips, and then we're going to get into some areas that may affect more elderly drivers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, last year, 2016, we actually had 145 accidents in the community, and that's quite a few accidents, right? So
yeah,
we did want to create a campaign for safe driving in the community, just to make our residents aware and always, provide a few extra tips for them, just to have in the back of their mind as they're driving in the community.
So some of these tips, I think people, one of the first most obvious ones is don't drink and drive, and of course, above anything else, that is something that is obviously a huge issue for everyone. And along with that, as we read down here, is don't drive under the influence, which could also mean your prescription medication, right?
Right, absolutely. So in the Village, we've got a lot of social events that do take place, and there are those occasions when maybe a resident has had a drink or two, and we just recommend, hey, have a designated driver, know your limits, but there's so many factors that are involved.
Right.
What is your weight? How much have you had to eat? How much have you had to drink? What is your tolerance? Are you on any types of medications? So there's some things that need to be to consider. A drink one night may impact you differently than a drink another night when you're just not feeling very healthy. So we just want to remind our residents to be careful and to play it safe as well. I know we're not talking to young 21-year-old college students, but at the same time, our senior members also have other considerations that they must look at when they choose to get behind the wheel, especially after having a drink. So number one will always be don't drink and drive, but watch your medications as well.
And that pertains here, meaning that the laws still apply even though they're within the gates.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. There's a few exceptions to a private community. DUI is one of them. So driving under the influence, that law does apply in the Village. And so if someone is under the influence, they do get stopped by security. Security's going to call the sheriff's department and they're going to have them come over.
All right.
Right.
So that's good to know.
Sure.
Next one, maintain safe speed. Again, a primary thing here in the village.
Sure.
And it's easy to go over that fairly low speed limit that most of our streets have, right?
It is. So it's, you know, for the most part, it's 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But there are other areas where it's 15 or even as low as 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of pedestrians out there. We have a lot of joggers, walkers. So we've got to be mindful of that. And then not only that, there's just a lot of areas where vehicles are coming out and turning onto the roadway.
Yes.
So we're just asking our residents, keep your speed down. You know, we've got our speed reminders, those digital signs out there to remind our residents. And, you know, we do have traffic enforcement. We have a team of traffic specialists who are equipped with radar who do enforce the speed laws.
Yeah.
And so if we determine that you're going at an unsafe speed and we're able to lock you in on radar, good chance you're going to receive a citation.
And obey all traffic signs. And again, whether you're outside or inside the gates,
Right.
the signs are there for a reason, right?
Absolutely. And one of our biggest concerns is the California stop. I know if you've seen the video here, that is a problem that we do see. And, you know, a lot of folks just don't realize that they're not coming to a complete stop.
Right.
And we're just asking them, hey, hit that line, pause briefly, be aware of your surroundings before moving forward.
Exactly. Use caution when changing lanes, and you know, that's a huge issue out on the streets, out on Moulton and things like that.
Sure.
You know, here in the village, we don't generally have double lanes anywhere, but still, people might merge off to the side, especially to the right, to get into a cul-de-sac.
Correct.
Or something
And
like that.
but not only that, Ken, it's also when merging in at the gates.
Right, that is true. That's right.
If you look at gate 5,
Yeah.
and they're using the 2 resident lanes, that far right lane has got to merge in. Now that the gate arms are down, every vehicle is coming to a stop or slow while the gate opens up, and there are occasions where a vehicle does have to yield, and that vehicle to the right has to yield to the vehicle to the left.
Right. And what we want to, or I should say correct.
Correct, there you go.
And, you know, going along with that is, as we all age, you lose some of your peripheral vision. That's just the way it is. You're not,
Correct.
you can't change that.
Right.
We just had an eye doctor on, and he'll tell you that.
Sure.
So it's even more imperative that you take that extra few seconds to kind of look back a little bit more.
Right, and that's part of being a defensive driver as well. Don't rely on the other person to be alert.
Right.
We're asking the person who's behind the wheel, hey, be aware of your surroundings, know your speed, know the traffic signs, know your community, and expect someone to come out and turn in front of you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Expect something to happen.
Right.
Yes. Don't follow too closely.
Right, that has been a problem here, and you know, and that leads into inattention, people being in a rush, what have you. They get in behind someone, and then that person in front has got to hit the brakes. And if we're playing with the radio or we're talking to someone and we're following too closely, the next thing you know, that car's stopping and we're right up on it. That's one of our more common accents here: following too closely, inattention, unsafe turns. I would say our big 3.
Okay. Avoid distractions. Now, we all know that you know, California state law when it comes to cell phone use and things like that.
Right.
Now, of course, you have to deal, and I don't even know how the state is dealing with this yet, with smartwatches and things like that. So there's a lot more going on right now. Right. But as you just said, just simply changing the radio.
Correct.
And you know, nowadays a lot of it's right on the steering wheel, but still people might glance over to see the station's on what I want it to be.
Yeah.
That alone.
Or finishing a cup of coffee or a meal. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've driven through the community and I've seen a few drivers on the cell phone. And that of course is a violation as well, and we will cite for it.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So we're trying to get the word out.
Yeah, definitely. Don't drive when you're drowsy.
Well, you would think that that's just common sense, but there's a lot of concerns about that when it's almost like you're a drunk driver, even though you maybe have not had anything to drink, and that's knowing your limitations, knowing your stamina. If you're out driving late at night or you're coming home from a distance and you're drowsy, it doesn't take much for you to start to weave a little bit,
exactly.
to lose your focus, to not react as quickly. it is very similar to that of a person who has had drinks or is on type of medication.
Yeah, and you know, even though people may be staying within the gates and they're not driving all that far, you know, if you're drowsy,
right.
you know, it can come on very quickly, right?
Sure. Again, and with everything else that's going on in here, with so many vehicles, we've got quite a few visitors coming in who they themselves are trying to find a location.
Yes.
Maybe they're visiting someone. They're not sure where they're going, and they're looking at the signs. They're looking at the building numbers and not necessarily paying attention to the road.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're not at full capacity, that's just a bad combination.
Yeah, definitely. You know, something that everyone should do and should have been doing for the last several decades. Keep your seatbelt on,
right.
Even if you're in the village here and going relatively slow.
Absolutely. Oh, seatbelts save lives.
Yeah.
And well, I can tell you that my wife was involved in an accident about a week ago.
Oh.
And that I will say that seatbelt did save her life.
Wow.
The airbags did deploy, and she has a bruise from her seatbelt.
Yeah.
But that seatbelt also prevented her from potentially being injured, you know, more than she was.
Wow.
Right. So
that's great. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but
yeah,
I'm glad that she's good.
She is.
Right. Practice defensive driving.
Absolutely, and that's just, again, and we've kind of already touched on it, but don't expect the other person to be a good driver. And so by practicing safe driving, again, being aware of your surroundings, watching the posted speed limit, keeping an eye on your speed, looking for pedestrians, looking for anything out of the ordinary, and being ready to hit the brakes. Yes. or make a quick maneuver. Hey, we get complacent, we're comfortable in our community, and we know where we're going. We take the same route every day, and then one day something else turns right in front of you, and you're just not ready for it. So let's make sure that we're alert.
Yeah, very good thing. And I don't know if they still teach that to kids nowadays. You know, driver's ed is much different than than when you and I went.
Right.
But that was a very big thing. Look down the road.
Correct.
See everything that's happening. You got to take in the big picture.
Right. Try to foresee what's coming up around the bend.
Exactly. Sure. Make sure your vehicle is in good running condition.
Right, and that just comes to common sense, tune-ups. But one of the issues is brakes.
Yeah.
Make sure those brakes are maintained. Something as simple as windshield wipers.
Yes.
You know, if you're out and it's, I mean, you know, we've experienced quite a bit of rain, and those wipers can get old and hard, and then when you need them, it actually makes it worse. So we just need to maintain our vehicle, keep it in good running condition. Yeah,
and nowadays brakes, what will happen when the brake pads go down, there's a little tab in there that'll start to make a squealing sound against the disc. Sometimes it might be so high pitched it's hard to hear, but if somebody hears it, or if you notice that, that's what's happening. It's a warning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I don't hear a lot of things now. My wife reminds me
Tell me about
every day. And so I tend to do my own work on my vehicles, and rather than depend on my ears, I actually get in there and look.
Yeah.
That's what a mechanic can do for you. When you go in there for your maintenance, have them check your brakes out
Exactly.
as well. Tire pressure is important as well.
Yes, it is.
So when you go in, make sure that those tires are inflated properly. That'll impact braking distance.
Yeah, definitely. And again, along with your tires, if you've had your car for a while, make sure that tread is in good order.
Correct.
As well.
Yeah. Great point.
Tires don't last forever.
There you go.
Now, a couple things that are more specific to as we age. Know your limitations.
Right. So as we get older, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to get out there on the road, to get on the highway. It's hey, those vehicles are not going slow. I know the speed limit's 55 and 65 in certain areas, and many of us just don't feel comfortable. But if you have to drive on a freeway, drive in the slow lane. Stay out of their way. If you don't feel comfortable driving at night, drive during the daytime. If there's busy intersections, avoid them. Take the side streets if you can. But that would be my recommendation. Is just know when it's safe to get out there. I've got a few older siblings, and I know that when we have family functions, they're going to leave early because they don't want to drive at night. And because they know that their sight is somewhat diminished.
And there's going to come a time for all of us that it's time to put the keys away. And I know with my dad, several years ago. He's going to be 87 now, and I think I want to say it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. I think when he turned, I think it was like 83, 84.
Right.
He voluntarily said, you know what? I don't want to be one of those seniors that hit the wrong pedal
Sure.
and hurt somebody, and I'm putting away the keys.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Good for him. And I know the DMV has training programs that some of our senior residents can take and to evaluate their ability to continue driving. But many of it just, I guess, it would require just to listen to your family as well, and to know again where you're at. If you can sense that you're just not reacting the way you once did, or you're having a lot of close calls,
right.
it's time to take a close look at whether you continue to drive. And I can tell you, we've got a great bus system, transportation system here in the village that seems to be working really well for us. I know one of your other points was just to be able to stay on top of your health as well.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, your father was older, but a person who can help you out with that is when you go get checked up at a doctor, and they do an eye exam, they do an ear exam, and maybe those areas are starting to diminish, what have you, or when you're just not reacting as quickly as you once did. And so if a vehicle were to stop in front of you, are you able to hit that brake pedal quickly enough? Are you able to make that turn motion the way you once did a few years earlier?
Yeah, again, we're all going to have to give up the keys one day. It's going to be hard because it's your independence, but it's better than hurting or even worse, killing somebody, because you just simply couldn't react at the right time.
Right, and we're not recommending that everybody go out and give up their licenses, by no means. But what our safe driving tips in our campaign is just, hey, let's stay on top of our skills, and let's also know when that time comes that maybe it's time to share a ride with someone, or again take advantage of other transportation modes.
Definitely. Good to see you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Good seeing you.
We had a video that we're showing in the background there, and we'll show people more of that.
Great. Yeah, look forward to it.
But yeah, all good tips, and we appreciate you coming on. And whether you're young or older, when it comes to driving, you got to constantly stay on top of your skills. Definitely. Good to see you.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, we'll be right back.